Welcome back to TPS. There are several factors that go into an NFL star being underrated. Perhaps he plays on a big bad team. Maybe he's overshadowed by other stars. Perhaps it's because he doesn't play one of the more popular skill positions. Or maybe you just aren't paying enough attention to guys who aren't household names. At any rate, all 32 NFL teams have had at least one big-time impact player who isn't getting credit where it's due. Here's a look at every NFL team's most underrated player for the 2020 season.
At TPS, we post videos every single day, so don't forget to click the subscribe button to subscribe. Then click the notification bell to be notified when we post a new video.
Arizona Cardinals, Chandler Jones. Jones is never mentioned in the elite class of pass rushers, which consists of Aaron Donald, Von Miller, J.J. Watt, and Khalil Mack, among others. Shame, because Jones has been a game-changing force in Arizona for a while now. Jones posted a career-best 19 sacks in 2019, 2 years after he led the NFL with 17 sacks. Through his first 4 seasons in Arizona, Jones had 60 sacks in 64 games. That's ridiculous. Atlanta Falcons' Grady Jarrett. Jarrett posted a career-high 7.5 sacks in 2019, earning his first career Pro Bowl selection while also being named a second-team All-Pro. He's a beast, but he gets little recognition for it because he's playing on an otherwise mediocre Atlanta defense. This unit would be in shambles without him. Ravens' Marlon Humphrey. The Alabama product turned in solid rookie and sophomore years, but his game reached another level of dominance in 2019. Humphrey earned Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro honors. Still, he doesn't seem to get enough love on a star-studded Baltimore defense that also includes Marcus Peters. The Bills' John Brown. The Bills desperately needed some receiving help entering the 2019 offseason, so they signed John Brown on short-term deals to help second-year quarterback Josh Allen. Brown fit the bill perfectly, recording 72 receptions for 1,060 yards, both career highs, as well as 6 touchdowns. With Stephon Diggs now in the fold, Brown should be considered among the league's top number 2 wideouts. But he's not, and that's why he makes this list. The Panthers' Curtis Samuel. With all the firepower the Panthers have on offense, it's easy to overlook Curtis Samuel. Try not to do that, folks. Samuel has made steady progress with each passing year. In 2019, with 3 different quarterbacks, he had 54 receptions for 627 yards and 6 touchdowns. With Bridgewater providing long-term stability at QB, don't be surprised if the 2017 second-round pick grows into a 1,000-yard receiver going forward. The Bears' Allen Robinson. You know you're a pretty good receiver when you're posting 1,000-yard seasons with terrible quarterbacks on a consistent basis. Robinson had a Pro Bowl season with the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2015, with Blake Bortles as his QB, and in 2019, he went off for 98 receptions, 1,147 yards, and 7 touchdowns with Mitch Trubisky. Imagine if he had an elite QB to work with. You'd hear his name being mentioned among the league's elite wideouts a lot more often. Bengals' Carlos Dunlap. The Bengals have been awful for a while now, and he's had to line up alongside superstar pass rusher Geno Atkins all this time. No wonder Dunlap is so underrated. People don't seem to notice him. His pass rush production has been remarkably consistent. Dating back to 2013, Dunlap has tallied at least 7.5 sacks each season, but you probably never noticed that, if you do. Browns' Jack Conklin. Offensive linemen in general tend to be widely overlooked, but Conklin's dominance was on display during the Titans' mid-season surge under Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry last year. He was instrumental in helping Henry win the rushing title, and his superb pass protection helped Tannehill win the Comeback Player of the Year. His underratedness was further proven when the Browns signed him to a bargain 3-year contract worth $42 million. Trust us, as one of the best offensive tackles in the league, he should be making way more. Cowboys' Michael Gallup. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, the triplets sure take a ton of credit for the success of that offense. But what about Michael Gallup? He had a remarkable sophomore season with 66 receptions for 1,107 yards and 6 touchdowns. With prized rookie wideout CeeDee Lamb now in the fold, it'll be easy to overlook Dunlap. But you shouldn't, especially in your upcoming fantasy football draft. Broncos' Justin Simmons. Simmons wasn't exactly great in his first 3 NFL seasons, but that all changed in 2019 as he enjoyed a breakout year with 4 interceptions and 15 passes defended. He was ranked as the 17th best player by Pro Football Focus for 2019. That's elite, and he's only getting started. He won't be in the underrated category for long. The Lions' Marvin Jones. Jones has been worth every penny of that $40 million contract the Lions gave him in 2016. Since then, he's averaged just under 830 yards and 7 touchdowns a season, despite missing 16 games over that span. With Golladay in town, Jones is no longer Detroit's #1 wideout, but don't let that fool you. This dude can ball. Packers, Kenny Clark. The Packers struck gold when they drafted Clark 27th overall in 2016. He's been a beast on the defensive line as both a run stopper and a pass rusher. Clark posted 6 sacks for the second straight year in 2019. This landed him his first Pro Bowl selection as Clark helped Green Bay reach the NFC Championship game. And the man is just entering his prime years now. Houston Texans, Justin Reid. The Texans' defense has been atrocious at times over the past 2 seasons, which has caused many fans to overlook the stellar play on safety Justin Reid. He's been a mainstay in the secondary with 5 interceptions and 15 passes defended through his first 2 NFL seasons. Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Castonzo. Everyone knows the Colts have one of the best O-lines in football, but most of the credit goes to Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly. Anthony needs a little more respect around here, don't you think? He amazingly has yet to earn a Pro Bowl selection in his career despite rock-solid production. He received an excellent 81.3 grade from PFF for the 2019 season, so yeah, start giving this guy some respect. Jacksonville Jaguars, DJ Hayden. Veteran corner DJ Hayden quietly turned in an excellent season in 2019. He was ranked as the 10th best corner by PFF for the regular season, allowing just 8.4 yards per catch. This was tied with Richard Sherman for 3rd fewest among corners. Kansas City Chiefs Frank Clark. He was overlooked during his time in Seattle, and that underrated label followed Clark all the way to Kansas City. He was arguably the best player on the Chiefs' defense in 2019, recording 8 sacks, 4 passes defended, and 3 forced fumbles, and he was unstoppable in the postseason too with 5 sacks. But playing on the same team as Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce usually means you won't get your fair share of credit. That's how it is with Clark, and any defensive player on that team for that matter. Las Vegas Raiders Corey Littleton. The Raiders may have scored the biggest bargain of 2020 free agency when they somehow got workhorse linebacker Corey Littleton on a 3-year deal worth $36 million. But how? Littleton is a force all over the field. He's a game wrecker as a pass rusher, but his coverage skills are downright elite. Per PFF, Littleton posted a ridiculous 87.3 coverage grade over his 4-year tenure with the LA Rams. He's no Bobby Wagner, but Littleton is a much better linebacker than he gets credit for. Chargers Desmond King. The Chargers might have the best secondary in football. A lot of the credit goes to veteran standout Casey Hayward and all-pro safety Derwin James. Newcomer Chris Harris Jr. will command a lot of attention too. That makes it easy to forget about Desmond, but don't. Per PFF, he had a 91.1 coverage grade in the 2018 regular season. Tops among all corners. He even adds some juice as a pass rusher, having recorded 2.5 sacks in 2019. He does it all. Los Angeles Rams Robert Woods. How does Woods not receive more recognition for his contributions to this Rams offense? He crossed the 80 catch and 1,000-yard marks for the 2nd consecutive year, asserting himself as a key cog in LA's aerial attack. Woods was instrumental in helping the Rams reach Super Bowl 53. They rely heavily on him to steer this new-look offense with Brandon Cooks gone. Miami Dolphins Jordan Howard. It's hard to understand. A man who rushed for 1,000 yards in each of his first 2 seasons is now on his 3rd team in as many years. How? Why? Howard hit over 900 yards in each of his first 3 seasons with the Bears to go along with 24 total touchdowns. Yet they traded him to the Eagles in the 2019 offseason, where he played behind Miles Sanders for half the season. Howard signaled with the Miami Dolphins in free agency, where he'll get every chance to see starting reps again. If he can regain that 1,000 yards form, the man won't be underrated much longer. Minnesota Vikings Danielle Hunter. Like the aforementioned Chandler Jones, Hunter needs to be mentioned more in the discussion of the game's top pass rushers. 2019 marked the 2nd straight season in which he recorded 14.5 sacks. Did you know he had more sacks last season than Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Khalil Mack? He's one of the most dominant defensive players in football right now. Let's start giving him more respect. Patriots Cam Newton. It's crazy to think that a former NFL MVP could actually be the most underrated player on his team, but that's where we're at in 2020. It wasn't long ago when Cam Newton was one of the most dominant forces in the league, but after battling through injuries for the past season and a half, apparently most teams in the NFL don't even think he's a capable backup, let alone a starter. That's why the Patriots got him on such a cheap deal so late in free agency. Well, don't sleep on Cam. He's only 31 years old, and if healthy, he should remind everyone that he's still an elite quarterback in 2020. New Orleans Saints Ryan Ramczyk. Unless you're named Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, or Alvin Kamara, you'll never get your fair share of credit as a member of the Saints offense. Too bad for Ryan Ramczyk because he's arguably the best offensive lineman in football today. Ramczyk allowed 0 sacks in the 2019 season, earning him the first of what should be many first-team All-Pro selections. The Giants' Darius Slayton. Not much went right for the Giants in 2019, but rookie wideout Darius Slayton was one of the few positives. The 5th-round draft pick out of Auburn led the Giants with 740 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns last year. Slayton put up solid numbers with Eli Manning and Daniel Jones splitting the duties. Expect a big sophomore year from Slayton, who will only continue to progress. New York Jets, Steve McClendon. He hasn't earned any Pro Bowl or All-Pro selections in his career, but McClendon has quietly been a run-stopping force on the Jets since he signed with them in 2016. He recorded a run defense grade of 90.0 from PFF since 2017. It's just too bad that he's been stuck on so many miserable Jets teams, so we can't blame anyone for failing to notice his dominance in the trenches. Philadelphia Eagles, Brandon Graham. If the NFL one day reveals the all-time all-underrated team, don't be surprised if Graham is on it. He and Fletcher Cox have been one of the league's most dynamic pass-rushing duos over the past 5 or so years, yet the former still doesn't have a single Pro Bowl appearance. It's amazing how Graham still doesn't receive much credit, despite strip-sacking Tom Brady to help clinch the Eagles' first-ever Super Bowl. Pittsburgh Steelers, Steve Nelson. Nelson enjoyed a star-like season with 1 interception and 8 passes defended during his first season in Pittsburgh in 2019. According to Pro Football Reference, he only allowed a completion percentage of 50 when targeted, and he yielded 0 touchdowns in coverage. The Fitzpatrick trade got most of the attention, but the Nelson acquisition may have actually been Pittsburgh's most underrated move of 2019. Go figure. 49ers Jimmy Ward. San Fran star-studded pass rush gets most of the attention, but don't ignore that secondary, which allowed the fewest passing yards in 2019 at just 169.2 per game. Veteran safety Jimmy Ward and all-pro corner Richard Sherman anchor the secondary. The former racked up 8 passes defended while finishing with a superb PFF grade of 84.2. If he keeps up this pace, Ward will soon enter the conversation of the NFL's elite safeties. Seahawks Will Dissly. A plethora of injuries unfortunately limited him to 10 games through his first 2 NFL seasons. But when on the field, the tight end out of Washington has been a nice secret weapon for Russell Wilson. He had 31 receptions for 418 yards and 6 touchdowns over those 10 games. He's quite the special red zone threat for Pete Carroll and company. Hopefully he can stay healthy and take his game to another level from here. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Chris Godwin. Everyone knows about Godwin's breakout season in 2019, but all too often the guy isn't even considered to be the top receiver on his team. Michael Thomas was the only receiver ranked higher by PFF last season. Godwin might actually be a top 5 receiver in the NFL. You should be viewing him as such, and not just as Mike Evans' trusty sidekick. Tennessee Titans Kevin Byard. Despite earning first-team All-Pro and Pro Bowl honors in 2017, he isn't usually regarded as one of the better safeties in football. He'd been the ultimate ball-hawking safety with 17 interceptions and 33 passes defended over his last 3 years. He's the unsung hero of Mike Vrabel's stingy defense. Washington, Matt Ioannidis. Washington is one of the worst teams in football, but there's no denying how loaded their front 7 is. Generational talent Chase Young joins a group that already has young phenoms in Montez Sweat and Deron Payne, plus veteran Pro Bowl linebacker Ryan Kerrigan. But don't you dare forget about Matt, the guy who led the Redskins with 8.5 sacks last year. He's gotten better and better each year, and some Pro Bowl invites shouldn't be far behind. Who do you think is the most underrated player on your favorite team? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you liked the video, then like the video. If you're not subscribed yet, now's a great time to do that by hitting that button down below. And last but not least, tune into TPS every single day for more cool videos. We'll see you next time.